Hello everyone, this is Ross from retrodreambeam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into what we're shipping out today on Monday. Well, we're packing it up on Sunday nights. We've been doing this for a bit now because it's like a lot of stuff since Friday. I didn't look at the numbers, but I think this was pretty good. I kind of like actually stayed away from eBay Friday, and most of the weekend was just doing other stuff like organizing and then playing some video games and stuff like that. But just we were keeping away from it. All right, let's just jump right into it. First thing, enough rambling by me. It's gonna be hard to find stuff because it's kind of all over the place. So first thing I'm having trouble finding, it's called Who's Next? Tales from the Southwest Pacific Theater. This is going to be one of these historical books right here, the military ones. Sorry for, I'll do better for the next item. So Who's Next right here. Got a bunch of these different like military books, historical ones. We have all sorts over like specific planes or tanks or something like that. I haven't read this one, but yeah, this one for $9.60 plus shipping. Everything's going to be plus shipping. All right, moving along, we have a combo order. These are going to be plastic Airfix miniatures. I could not figure out, I sold a bunch of miniatures over the weekend, so it's going to be hard to figure out which ones. All right, sorry everyone. I thought I was way more prepared. So it's 62 and 79. So this one is 62. So there's a bag of 62. These ones, I couldn't figure out what war they are. It looks like maybe World War One. Oh, actually, I did put World War One for this. Some of them I did not. So it's rare that I find World War One. I think these were labeled when I got them. I got like a bunch of miniatures a bit ago, and I've been going through them and listing them and organizing them. It's a little hard to do it because there's, there's a lot of bits and pieces, hair, all that stuff. You have to go through it. So this, plus someone got 79 World War II Airfix miniatures. That's just like a company. They have these like boxes. I think it's like maybe red and blue or something in the corner. And like a lot of people like them. They use them to paint, make dioramas and stuff. So where's the 72? All right, I can't find them. All right, is this it? Yeah, this is it. Sorry, I have a bunch over here. So yeah, these two ended up going for $28. This looks like it's a repeat buyer. Do pretty well with those. A lot of people like them. All right. Moving along, this one's cool. I had to put it in a baggie because I didn't have them in a baggie in the storage unit. So these are 5 Lord of the Rings, the One Ring D6 from like an RPG set. I don't know if this is like a complete set right here. So you have the little 6 right here. It's kind of written, I think, in Elvish kind of. There's like a little symbol there. I think that's going to be Elvish. So there's 5 of these. These are going to be like an ivory color. These sold for $30. I saw that they were more rare. Sometimes like dice from these RPG sets, like just a whole set when it's old vintage and people like it or use it, stuff from like the 80s can get pretty expensive. So $30 for the dice. All right, moving along, we have like an incomplete kit. This is going to be this right here. Revel Morris truck and 17 PDR gun and Jeep right over here. Yeah, this one's incomplete. I would have to dig into my listing and see what's incomplete about it, but we'll still sell them. Revel's going to be right here. People like all these little kits and stuff, and all the miniatures have been doing pretty well for us. So I've been more focused on listing them. I don't know what I'm going to work on tomorrow. Been kind of all over the place. All right, just because I haven't focused on eBay too much. $18.39. Moving along, these were pretty cool. We got these for free. It was just like a bunch of them. These are called Just the Right Shoe. It's going to be this one right here. This is going to be Sweet Romance Dollhouse, like metal miniature. This one has like a heart and stuff. So actually, these are not just the right shoe. I got a bunch of these shoes that were just the right shoe that would be paired up with like actual shoes that someone bought. And then also in that whole bin of stuff, there's a lot of Dollhouse miniature stuff. This stuff goes for a good amount sometimes. Yeah, this is the Sweet Romance company right there. I just looked at the inside, but yeah, $17.60 out of my wheelhouse. But I know all of the miniature stuff sells for like all the military and stuff like that. We found Dollhouse stuff people like to also make. They collect all sorts of stuff. So $17.60 for that small one. It is like a good quality one. All right, moving along is going to be a repeat buyer. They happen to ask if we would take a offer on this, $1 for each of these. It's going to be 30 of the Lord of the Rings circular bases. These are for the strategy battle game. This is by Games Workshop. I think they remade some new rules recently, maybe this year, either this year or last year. I think it was this year. So yeah, people sometimes want the specific bases because it's going to be the correct size. It's going to have the right slot. And on the bottom, it actually has like the Games Workshop logo. So yeah, $30 for these. That's awesome. They did say that they bought some from us before. All right, moving along. I talk about this relatively like whenever they sell. That's when I get like card collections or when board games are sleeved with cards, I'll make a judgment call if I want to list the sleeves separately. It takes a little bit of time to unsleeve them, but if they're still clean, people will be looking for even unbranded. So these are unbranded. This is going to be 293 sleeves. It did only sell for $12.79. Well, they paid separately, but then also there's gonna be 110 perfect fits. These went for $6.39. So perfect fits are kind of special because a lot of Magic the Gathering players, and I think Pokemon players, at least Magic, perfect fit sleeves fit over the card as like a nice tight fit, and then they put that within another sleeve within their deck. And then usually the perfect fit when they put it into the regular sleeve is like upside down, so that if a drink spills over their deck, theoretically there's less chance of the liquid hitting the card. So people will do that for their expensive decks. So I know this, and I know people pick this up. Sometimes buying these packs can be expensive, but yeah, this ended up going for, it was $12.79 plus $6.39. All right. All right. Annetta was coming in checking out to see if I was if I looked good. Probably not. I probably don't look good right now. All right, it's super late. All right, next up is going to be 20 partially painted. These are going to be also more miniatures. These are going to be Civil War. The Civil War ones were doing pretty well for us. Seriously, I sold a lot, actually more. I should have had them organized before showing you guys. I'm sorry. Well, I guess you guys can't see it anyways because they're in these baggies already, but these ones were pretty well painted. So usually when they're slightly better painted, I'll ask a little bit more. I got $30 for these, $29.99, but they do look pretty cool. Like someone doesn't have to paint them. And some people like painting them, like these unpainted ones. All right, next up. I don't want to like toot my own horn, but when I was looking for this is going to be a set of, well, I don't know if it's a complete set, 337 1990s Risk pieces. We actually did a video maybe like 2 years ago where we got a bunch of Risk pieces within like a big bin, and a lot of them have sold. So then now we're down to the scraps. But my picture that I actually did like a really cool picture of all the piles. I actually thought that there was like more. Like I actually liked my picture better than the in-person one. But yeah, people like the Risk pieces. They like to play crazy games where they, they keep going and building up their forces and they don't attack each other. So yeah, that's why people pick these up. Maybe they just like the little miniatures. These end up going for $24.99. I was actually pretty lucky to get that, but maybe it was my good picture. I'm not trying to like do my own horn. I did like that picture. Once in a while, I'm like, oh, I actually like that one. All right, move along. Beyond the Rhine right here. Another military book, hardcover. Says A Screaming Eagle in Germany right here. Haven't read this one. Same story as the other, story pun intended, as the other military book. We got a bunch of these. I've listed a bunch. People have been always picking them up. They like to read about specific events, people, wars. All right, they end up going for $12. All right, next up is going to be Grand Theft Auto episodes. Is it episodes? Yeah, episodes from Liberty City Poster. That's what I wrote. Where was it? It's going to be right over here. Still all over the place. I already have this all folded up. I remember this was at like a estate sale. There was someone that had already gone through all the video game stuff, so there's kind of just scraps there. But they left all of the posters, kind of like the manuals. They weren't like super crazy manuals. Don't think like the Super Nintendo. And there was just like, Wii instruction stuff. I know people eventually pick them up, and a lot of people don't list that stuff. So that's why I do eventually list it and pick them up. Yeah, this ended up going for $8.10. I remember that was a really cheap estate sale pile. I think we probably paid like $20 or $25. It was like last day, last hour. We gathered a bunch of stuff, a lot of paper and ephemera. People don't value as much, or at least at like estate sales. We do. It's a lot of fun going through it. It takes a little bit of time to list, but I enjoy it. All right, moving along, we have Waterloo 1815, French Napoleonic staff, cavalry, like toy soldiers right here. You can see this bag originally had a bunch of these. I've been selling a bunch. Not recently. I think when I originally listed them, I sold a ton. I think we did some combo orders. But yeah, these ones are pretty cool quality. They're like the toy soldier like size. What is that size? It's like 1 out of 32 scale. There you go. Yeah, these ones look pretty cool. I ended up identifying these by, was doing the reverse image search, and I found a gentleman who did a bunch of blogs with them. He would paint them up, and he would do a bunch of stories with them, and he would like line them up on his little wargaming table. Super cool stuff. $39.99 for this. All right. Moving along, we have an international sale. This one's interesting. So this is 25 Evolution flight expansion, board game cards and pieces. So this is not the full thing. This is just like, sometimes I get these incomplete games. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to put the box with this one because it's going to make the weight too much, and probably would have been a make or break for this international sale, to be honest, because that would have been a bigger box, and then the dimensions are really increased heavily, exponentially with international sales. But yeah, Evolution is going to be a board game I played it one time. I didn't like that much. A lot of people like it. It's going to be a competitive game where there's going to be like some food in the middle, in the pond or whatever it was, and then there's water, I think, too, and then you are going to be playing a creature that you get to blindly pick, not blindly pick, everyone else doesn't get to know, but you guys are all basically evolving your animal and stuff to have different attributes. But yeah, you're constantly changing. People can turn into a carnivore to try to eat the other players if there's not enough food in the middle. There's also like a population track where you get to keep track of your different populations. Really interesting concept. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the idea that, you know, it was just constantly, you know, almost playing like rock, paper, scissors, where it's like, oh, well, I think that person's gonna be a carnivore, so I'm gonna have some like defensive spikes on my turtle shell. But yeah, a lot of people like it. So yeah, $17.99 for those bits and pieces. That's an expansion, the flight one. So I'm assuming there's more stuff for that. I didn't play one. All right, moving along, we have Simon Sedition Wars. This is going to be some like a miniature. I keep selling this stuff, and then I keep, yeah, most of it's sold. I don't know too much about it. I don't know where it is. Is this? All right, I'll find it. I'll find it afterwards. I know it's somewhere. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. All right, just one character right here, or two characters. So I didn't identify these characters because they were kind of in their baggies. And honestly, rethinking about it, I should have opened up the baggies and just try to identify the characters. But I've had a lot of people pick them up. I think it's a board game, miniature game with some tactics. $11.19 for this one. I put like alien monster robot thing. That's what I put in the, I didn't put thing in the title, but that's what, yeah, alien monster. All right, moving along, we have this. This is going to be Hurricane Season, a Dystopian Wars. This is going to be a hardcover book. I always forget to look into what Dystopian Wars is. I think it's going to be like a bigger scaled naval ship miniature game. I don't think it's going to be like an RPG. It could be wrong. I've sold only the books. I keep forgetting to look it up, and whenever I get the book, it's easy to just look up, you know, like a hardcover book and price it out. So I keep forgetting to do the research, but I know I've sold a little bit of this stuff. So this one sold for $16. It says on the back that this is like a campaign guide, so it probably has a bunch of scenarios for people to play. I'm assuming it's competitive, like people are battling against each other. All right, next up is going to be a combo order. Let's see if I can grab these in one go. I think I can. We have this one right here. This is going to be miniatures. These are going to be unidentified, 1 out of 72 scale. So it's basically like a little inch right here. A bunch of different soldiers. Couldn't figure out what military or war they went to. And then we also have these. These are going to be 33 7 Years War Prussians right here. Infantry. So I do take good pictures when they're unidentified. I'll put as many keywords, you know, like I try to like say that they have like rifles or infantry or armored or helmets and stuff like that, just so people can like know before they click on, but then I take good pictures just in case. So yeah, let's end up going for these two for $23 for that. A lot of people picking up these miniatures. All right, next up, I almost lost this one. Anetta saved me. This is going to be a laminated RPG map, Stonewater, the Exodus of Wolfbane right here. And I think I just almost did it. This one is laminated, so it is, if it seems like I'm a little bit rougher with it, I'm not, but it should be fine right here. Super cool one. A lot of cool, it's like black and white details. It probably doesn't look the best on the screen right now, so I'm just going to curl it up right now. But yeah, this ended up going for $19.99. It's very slippery. Like it was almost probably the previous owner laminated it recently before I got it. Yeah, that one is super slippery. But yeah, people like these maps. They'll use them. Maybe they'll use dry erase marker to have their players be on it, and then they get to denote where they are on the map. All right, next up, I think I learned more about these after I listed a bunch, and then I kind of set them aside because I was like, oh, maybe I messed it up. So we have these Stardock miniatures right here. So I got these. I think I did a video on it a bit ago. We've sold a couple of them, not a lot. I listed a lot right here. This is going to be some kind of, so it's a metal miniature. It's like an RPG priest with like some kind of cane or staff and like their hand up, and then they also have a robe on. So I was labeling these all as Stardock. I think Stardock was going to be either a distributor or a retail shop back in the day, because I couldn't find anyone else having the Stardock stuff, and I think they would get individual miniatures and to make them look nice to the customers, or maybe as they were distributing to other shops, they would just actually be bagging up stuff that was actual miniatures for different things. Because when I was slowly going through it, I eventually saw one that said like Ral Partha on the bottom. I was like, oh, maybe these aren't actually just called Stardock miniatures. So I left these listings as is. The rest were in a bin on the bottom. I might open them up out of the packages, even though it looks like a sealed thing. So yeah, I know that was a longer story, but yeah, $19.99 for that one. All right, I took the best pictures I could, but the front is kind of fuzzy with, you know, the metal inside rubbing and making it look you know, a lot of glare through pictures. This one is going to be Timeless Treasures Space. This is going to be, what's it called? Fabric. There you go. I had to look at my listing. It's been a while. So someone's going to probably make like a pillow or maybe like a blanket or something. This is long. I remember I took a picture. It's like, I don't think I needed to take a picture of how long it was. I should have just said the dimensions, but it was like across the whole, just like across the whole like walkway and stuff. So then we had to end up cleaning it and stuff like that. All right, $15.99. People love craft stuff. We don't get much craft stuff, but people like it. All right, next up, I forgot to grab it, and then it's going to be in a bin over there, but it's going to be some, it wasn't Evolution. It was a game called Endangered, and then this was going to be the expansion called New Species. They have these really cool, like, meeple miniatures. Maybe I'll put a couple pictures up and do the work of editing in some pictures because, yeah, they look really adorable. So I got this incomplete game. The game is about teaching you about like which animals are actually endangered in real life, and then like you're playing the game and you're supposed to be like solving these issues. Really cool concept for a game. I haven't played it, but I really like it when someone who's not a board game designer ends up working in the field and then they play some board games and they design some. I think also Fog of Love was like someone in psychology or something that ended up making it. It was the only game that they made with some expansions or something like that, or a therapist. Or so there's a couple of unique board games. It just takes someone with like a vision and enough money and maybe like a Kickstarter or maybe just enough backing of their own personal money to like make a game. And this is one of those unique ones. So $15.67 for those pieces. All right, next up is going to be this. This is going to be Science Quest, Fun Fair, Fright, and Lost in Space. These are choose your own adventure books by the same company. So that's these ones. We still have a little bit to go. This is taking a bit. All right. Yeah, these ones look pretty cool. So these are probably like younger ones. You can tell just by the little art right here, speaking of science or whatever right here. So you can do a bunch of little like puzzles and stuff like that in here. So this is more like an educational one. And then Lost in Space. No, there was no previous marks on it. So these didn't go for too much, $20.47. I mean, that's good. We'll take it. But yeah, that's basically like $10 and like 22.5 cents or something, like 23.5 cents. There we go. Did I grab which one? Bonanza? I did not, so I'll probably have to grab that one. I think I forgot to grab an item. All right. Next up, we have Dungeon Degenerates right here. This is going to be a choose or lose story. I guess another choose your own adventure. I really like this, like, I don't know what they call this, like video game, really bright, vivid colors. I don't know. I just like it. I don't have any games or anything that I use with them, so I'm sure someone likes it. But yeah, RPG or some kind of choose your own adventure, $10. Super cool. Look at that little like map. This is, I think, meant to be a consumable. I think you're supposed to like, you know, do this. Maybe it's solo, maybe with someone else, and then you write on it and it's probably done for. But yeah, $10 for that one. All right. Next up is going to be, what did I drop? I don't know. We'll have to find out. SPI Stellar. This is going to be Star Force Stellar. I think I mixed a bunch of stuff. SPI game. So it's in one of these weird containers. This is going to be Star Force Alpha Sentry, some kind of sci-fi space game. It has a bunch of chit tokens. So you guys saw that I got a return on the, like one of these inserts before when I said, when they thought they were going to get the whole game. This is what one of these games looks like. It comes with like a tray. If I take off the rubber band, if I take off this lid, and then the thing, it's a whole tray. And then there's also like, if there's maps for the game, they're in there. This one, I believe, is complete. This one's going to repeat buyer for $21.60. I don't know if this was the best board game design. I mean, it's nice that it has like a container, but yeah, more modern board games deal with that better because it gets crunched, right? All right, moving along, we have Battlefield Blitz. We sold a bunch of these a long time ago. Some of our biggest combo orders. This is just a pack. It says like BGGC right here. I actually didn't do a good job identifying these. It looks like some kind of vehicle or artillery right here. But yeah, someone paid $25.60 as a repeat buyer. All right, moving along, we have Astrid, which is going to be a Magic the Gathering commander. I think this one, it's been a while. It's either Bance or Esper? Maybe it's Esper. Yeah, maybe it's Esper actually. But yeah, when Magic the Gathering makes commanders, they usually make they license Ultra Pro to allow deck boxes with the character on the front. They're usually like a plastic one. They're like pretty decent quality. They're not bad. They're not the best. They're usable, and then people like to have, you know, the matching character. Sometimes they just like, they'll be like, that's my commander, and then they like it. $5.50 for that one. this is what I'm talking about when I say deck boxes need to be 100 plus for that specific way for Magic the Gathering. That's what the players want, because that's the size of their deck. And then there's going to be like 60/80 count ones that are smaller. They are different. All right, moving along, we have a Boulder, Colorado Discovery map from 2020 2021 right here. This is just going to be like a map from a particular place. Didn't go there. But yeah, this one ended up going for $16. Yeah, people like collecting different maps at different times and stuff like that. There's a little bit of marks on it, but yeah, they're a lot of fun for people. People like the ephemera. All right, moving along, we have Rune Wars Revised Edition board game. This is international. This is just going to be a bunch of different bits and pieces. I don't know too much about Rune Wars. I know that it's like it's by Fantasy Flight Games. It's obviously a fantasy game, but yeah, there's all these big tiles. This isn't the complete game, so I actually just separated the box. Once again, I'm kind of glad I separated the box because it would have added a lot of dimensions and weight to the thing, and this is going international. So $22.39. Someone probably wants to replace pieces, or they just don't have access to it. Or maybe that's like good enough to be additions to their game. There's a lot of expansions to some of these old games. So yeah, Rune Wars I need to look more into. All right, next up, another international sale. This is going to be 10 World War II British Army North African Army men is what I put. All right, I think that was the label that was on there. Where is it? I'm like losing track of it. All right. Yeah, it's somewhere. It's somewhere. I'll move along for now. I know it's probably going to be in one of these piles that I just like kept going back and forth between. I probably touched it a bunch of times. But yeah, more of the little miniatures, $12.79. I'm just going to move on. All right, never happened. ANZ End right here. This is going to be a board game by Indie Boards and Cards. They're also known for doing The Resistance, which is going to be a kind of like a werewolf type of game, hidden role game. This one's going to be a deck building game. It's co-op. There's going to be like a monster overlord. I forget the fish. Nemesis that you're fighting. You get to pick characters. You'll have like power-ups. You have these little like portals, rifts or something that you open up, and then you cast your spells on. And there's like a whole bunch. Each you play a little campaign. And Ned and I did not like this game, actually. We did not like ANZ End. We like deck builders and co-op games. We did not like this game because there is a mechanic in the game where the turns, you put like, a couple of your turn cards. It's a stack of cards. You put a couple of your turns, and that would put a couple of her turns. So we would have, our turns in there, and then the overlord, Nemesis would get a couple. But there was a way for like Nemesis, you shuffle it, Nemesis, and we had that happen so many times, no matter how much we shuffle, and it was just it left like a bad taste in our mouth. $15 for this one. I know a lot of people like it. They like the expansions. I'm not too sure if any of these are expensive yet, but maybe it's because they're still in print or something. But yeah, people do like it, so I do keep an eye out for it. But that's missing. The cards missing are just going to be some basic cards. All right, moving along, we have this German board game, Kaiser König, like Elderman right here. Really cool art. It has like this castle and this little hex shape right here, so it has a bunch of tiles. I already sealed this up, so I can't like open it up and show you some pieces, but I always pick up like the foreign board games when I see them, because I know I ask a little bit more for them, because I know there's a bunch of different types of people who collect board games. There's some board games that are hard to get around here in the US versus like Europe and stuff like that, so I do keep an eye out for these, and we do international shipping. This one's staying here, $25.92. But yeah, it just looked interesting. Never played that one. All right, moving along, we have Games Workshop Blood Bowl Dungeon Dugout Sheets. Did I say that right? Blood Bowl Dugout Sheets. I don't know I think it was Dungeon. Right here. Haven't played this one. I know there's a couple of versions of Blood Bowl. I don't know too much about it. It's going to be Games Workshop, the like Warhammer. It's going to be like their sport game. So yeah, these look pretty cool. These have like really solid art, and they were in good condition. So I think the person's going to be happy with this when they see the condition. It's like, it almost feels like it was just the person opened it up and then never used them. $14.07. All right. Next up is going to be two more ephemeras. These are going to be Arco like maps. One was Wisconsin and one was Iowa. And then they're kind of pretty messy because someone probably grabbed them, when they were on the road. Someone asked, they wanted all of ours. We only had two, unfortunately. So I looked at some of like, I have like a handful of brochures and maps left to go, but they're like 5 and they're dirty like this. But I think this person bought these as is. So yeah, Wisconsin and Iowa right there. But yeah, these end up going for $10. So I think it was just like $5 a piece for these, but that's fine because those weren't like as good of a shape as other stuff. But they wanted more. They messaged me. All right, combo order, crazy combo order. I think it was like 7 items. So it's just like a bunch of die-cast cars of various sizes. So there's 5 baggies of like 5 each. So I think there's like 25 in here. This was actually, they bought my whole bag. They obviously don't know what's in the whole bag. I had that. It's like 5 different listings. And then they bought some bigger ones here. We got a bunch of these police diecast cards. A lot of them have sold at this point. We got them from like a storage unit flipper. So yeah, these ones cool. I picked like a darker color one. Sometimes I would match these up, well, by like the same state police. Sometimes I would just pick different like color arrays that look good. So we have that one right here. And then this one I think was just like scraps. This was just like whatever last 4 I had. I was like, okay, I'm putting them 4 together. So $105 for all the diecast cars. All right, is there anything else? There is one more. 30 American Civil War Confederate soldiers. I don't know if it was this baggie. I think it's gonna be this one right here. Like I said, I got a bunch of Civil War. It was the American Revolution, Napoleonics. There was a bunch of stuff in the bag, and a lot of it sold at this point. So yeah, $15 for these. I sold a lot of miniatures. All right, so definitely gonna be focusing on some more tomorrow. It was a lot of stuff. All right, I think there was a Bonanza sale that I forgot to grab, so I'm gonna have to deal with that tomorrow. That's gonna be sad for me. It's basically a wasted trip for one item, but the person's been waiting since Friday. It was going to be this really cool, I guess I'll put it up since I'm editing the other thing in here. It's gonna be it's like this like castle metal miniature figurine with some like crystal balls or something. I'm going off of memory right here, but yeah, we'll check it out later together. All right. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to help support us, take a look at our links down below. Hope everyone had a good weekend.